Some used to.
All right, so why do we do this? Well, it's in the name, guys. It's useful in diagnosing fractures of the acetabulum itself. We're going to do two posterior oblique positions. Anytime we do this, we will always do both. We'll do the internal oblique and the external oblique to get that full visualization of the acetabulum. So for the internal oblique, we're going to focus on the affected side up. That's going to specifically show us the posterior rim of the acetabulum and the iliopubic column. For the external oblique, we'll put the affected side down, and we use that to demonstrate the anterior rim of the acetabulum and the ilioischial column. Please know both those bullet points. So in other words, if I'm looking at the right acetabulum, I'm going to do an internal oblique and an external oblique. I'm going to do both views to show the entirety of that acetabular area. So that's what it means by affected side up, affected side down. We're going to do both those views. Bless you. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done a Judae view. Now I think about it. I know they do them at bone clinics sometimes in Benton. That's a cool mug. We see what others can't, radiology team. Like that.
Say that word.
Which one?
Anterior rim of acetabulum and
Ilioischial.
Ilioischial column. That reminds me, like, speaking of my schooling, I think I already told y'all this, but in Louisiana, it was like for the t-shirt competitions and like little slogans, they always try to come up with those inappropriate stuff.
Like what?
Like, it's almost, oh, you don't want to know.
Please.
Like, it was always a competition at LSRT, which is the Louisiana one, to see what school had the most offensive and inappropriate shirts. Yeah.
Time to bring back a tradition.
Everything is reminding me of program.
Did I show y'all some of my old t-shirts?
No.
I think I got them in the office. I'll try to find them. They're coming here. They're in the office. Oh yeah, I got it right here. This is in fact, when I was a senior in radiology school, this is the shirt that won the competition. What's pretty normal on the front? Here is the back. Now, let me give you some context to this. There is a position of the C-spine called the Fuchs view. The Fuchs, F-U-C, F-U-C-H-S, Fuchs, not the other word, Fuchs. We do that to look at the odontoid process on C2. And you do it by opening the patient's mouth and shooting through the mouth. So, my class got really inappropriate with this. And this is the shirt. It says, if you can't open it, fuchs it. If you can't open the mouth, you fuchs it.
Oh my god.
And
That's pretty good.
it's pretty good. This one. And I think the one before, I don't know where that shirt is. We had one was a barium enema bag and it said, we make the best tippers. And it was like a barium enema tip with the bag. But yeah, they would always competing to see who could be most inappropriate with these things. But
Can we do that?
no. Louisiana's a different world.
We'd make so much more money with the fundraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, just our class, just 2024 do it.
Let's just do a separate
Hey,
fundraiser.
just put my marker on there. We'll be all right.
So our mascot at the college was the Cowboys, so it has the cowboy hat and cowboy boots.
Be like, that's my ass for these 2 years.
No, I didn't know.
Angelica. Remember Anthony? Where's your left ass?
I was like, right here.
Not my style.
These hip exams are gonna be fun for me.
All right. Like I said, I keep getting distracted this morning. We're just talking about everything in the world except for what we're supposed to be talking about. All right, so we're going to talk about the two patient positions here, that internal versus external. Or we're going to start with the internal here. Patient position, the patient will be in RPO or LPO. And for the internal oblique, we are putting the affected hip up. So if I'm having trouble with the right acetabulum, that will be what's elevated for our internal oblique. That's going to inversely change for the other view that we do.
Bless you. Question mark?
Couldn't get it out.
You're welcome.
Hate when you can't sneeze.
Yeah,
It's the
that's the
worst
worst.
feeling.
Love that.
Patient will be in a 45-degree oblique with the affected side elevated. Central ray will be central ray will be perpendicular to the IR, entering 2 inches inferior to the as is of the affected side. 10 by 12 lengthwise cassettes. Main thing to remember, guys, on these is what are we looking at? So for the internal oblique, we're looking at the affected side up. So if I am doing an internal oblique, acetabulum, Jude view, and the patient is LPO, what is the side of interest? The side that's up. So it'd be the right acetabulum for the internal oblique. Does that make sense? Internal oblique, we're looking at the side that is up. When we look at the external oblique, we're looking at the side down. So they're inverse to each other. So in other words, for this x-ray right here, we're interested in this elevated acetabulum. We're looking at the right side here. It's an LPO position. We're looking at the right elevated acetabulum. Where's the what?
Is that blue thing supposed to be?
That's the cassette. You want this right here?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's the cassette.
It's in the same.
So do you feel like a wedge?
Paper
type
bucket.
one?
Yeah, like if you have one of these nice sponges, it puts them in a natural 45, a little easier than trying to do it yourself, but we don't always have these, unfortunately.
How would you do it without it? Yeah.
You just rotate them 45 degrees and eyeball it
And hope they don't move.
and hope they don't move.
Hold that.
How do you hold that? You can rotate your hip on the table. I'd have to show you.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to imagine.
It's kind of hard to
Yeah.
explain it. I'd have to show you.
You'd probably use one of your arms to help you like stay
Oh,
propped up.
okay.
One of your legs to prop up. All right, now this is going to be the external oblique. So now we're looking at the side that is down. So look at these two side by side. Internal oblique, we're interested in the right acetabulum. Internal oblique, side elevated. External oblique, now it's the side down. See the right side. And we always do both of these together. Still 45 degrees, we're going to put the affected hip down. We're going to put the central ray to the pubic symphysis on this one, entering directly into that pubic symphysis. This is our RPO external oblique. So for external oblique, side of interest is down. Internal oblique, side of interest is elevated. They're inverse to each other. And to look at the acetabular area, acetabulum views.
Why is DCR different?
Why is it different?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, why is it centered differently?
Yeah.
Think about what we're visualizing. Let me go back. We're interested in the side up. Therefore, I'm going to put my central ray on that side that is up, because that's what I want to visualize, the right side. Now look, for the external oblique, the side's down. If I put my central ray here, I'm going to miss it. I have to put it towards this side right here, go directly through it.
Oh.
See that? Through the pubic symphysis? Just a different, it's where the anatomy lies. So what I want you to know, guys, on this one especially, know the degree of obliquity, know where your central ray goes, and know what the star of the show for each x-ray is. So for external oblique, what am I looking at? Internal oblique, what am I looking at? Depends on what the text says. Does that make sense?
So for internal, what are you looking at?
We're looking at the side is elevated.
Posterior remnant ilio.
So if the internal oblique, I'm in an RPO position, the left side is up, that's the one I'm looking at. If it's an external oblique and I'm looking at the left side, I want to be in an LPO because it's the side that is down that we're looking at.
You usually do both. when you're-
You always do both.
Okay.
So if I'm interested in the right side, I'm going to do an external oblique and an internal oblique of that right side. So one will be with the side up, one will be with the side down. All right, so what are we looking at? The acetabular rim, and specifically the iliopubic column of in the posterior rim of the acetabulum on the internal oblique, the ilioischial column and anterior rim on the external oblique. You know how those are different depending on the obliques. Iliopubic versus ilioischial. And then posterior rim versus anterior rim. I still need to sneeze. I can't get the sneeze out. Oof.
You want me to say bless you? You're like, oh no, I wouldn't wait.
Ah,
Still there?
I need a blessing to get the sneeze out. Ooh.
There's pepper and
Take
salt.
credit.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Chris, be stuck.
It sounded nice. Thank you.
This is off topic, but how do we feel about the smell of cinnamon? Like those scented pine cones and stuff
I
like
like
that?
the smell.
Should we, like, would it be okay to get some of those in, like, for
You
decoration?
probably
in
want to
front?
make sure everyone's okay with it, no one's allergic to it. But I like the smell.
Oh, put it
I
on
think it's a
parking
nice
lot.
smell. We're gonna start writing, or are we good?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No hurry. All right, so what are these gonna look like? There's the x-rays right there. Once again, I've never seen one of these actually done, but I do hear they do them at Ben Togger once in a while. There's really your internal oblique, where we're looking at the affected side elevated. And we get that nice round acetabular view. Over here is the external oblique with the affected side down. You'll see that nice view of that acetabulum. Opens it up a little further. And really, it's not that big of a difference from what you really see on a hip. That's why they probably never hardly ever order these. But I guess if there's just a really tiny fracture they can't visualize, they might order these just to get a little closer look at it.
Question, so are these similar to like doing SI joints oblique?
Not exactly, although SI joints are done oblique. It's a different type of obliquity we're using on those.
Okay.
That's next semester. We'll come back to that when we get to spine. Those do come in a lot.
So where's the obturated foramina on the right image?
It's superimposed on
Oh,
itself
cool.
because the way the page's rotated. Open there and close there. So this would be an RPO, this would be an LPO. You see how they're inverse to each other? Like when my side's down, the ala is stretched out, obturator foramen is closed. If my side is up, the ala is superimposed and the foramen's open.
So
Kind
that's
of neat how that works.
so that's the inlet above the on the right image.
The inlet,
Yeah.
yeah, right there.
In the foramen.
All right, I think this is our last two views, guys. Last two ones. We have our inlet and outlet views. This is where we're going to be looking at the interior pelvic bones. We look at the outlet and the inlet portions of the pelvis specifically. The apiaxial outlet will be what we call the Taylor method, and then the superior inferior axial inlet method will be the Bridgman method. Taylor versus Bridgman. I think they do these at Ben Top sometimes as well. Pretty rare, but they do come in. So obviously, the word axial is going to mean what? Angulation. So we're going to be stretching out those specific areas that we want to visualize. Apiaxial outlet, we're stretching out the outlet area. Inlet, we're stretching out that inlet portion. Let's start with our Taylor method. We're looking at the outlet or the anterior pelvic bone. This patient will be supine. Nice and supine without rotation, just like our other pelvic views, guys. Now, please make note, gold star here. We do change the angulation between men and women because of the way that outlet is shaped. Remember, for men, that the outlet is more acute, and for women, it's more obtuse. Because of that shape, we have to change that angulation slightly between the two sexes. For men, we're gonna angle 20 to 25 degrees cephalic. For women, 30 to 45 degrees cephalic. Please remember that point. I have seen that question come up. It is going to enter 2 inches inferior to the superior border of the pubic symphysis, or directly on the outlet itself. That is the star of our show, the outlet of pelvis. So we're going to put the central ray directly on the outlet, 2 inches below the superior border of the pubic symphysis.
For both men and women?
Yes. Just different angulation. All right, so what do we want to see? The superior and inferior rami without foreshortening, which is the outlet portion, guys. Superior rami, inferior rami. We want these areas free of superposition, nice and full elongated views of that outlet portion. As you can see, it looks massively stretched out. Look how big the obturator foramina look. So if you saw a picture like that on your test, with those obturator foramina very stretched, the outlet's very stretched as well. That's key for that Taylor method, or that outlet view that we're talking about. And obviously it's centered much lower as well. Pubic symphysis is also elongated. Have a pretty x-ray, kind of neat looking. I like the next one better for a specific reason. I'll show y'all what I mean.
Are these all done at 40 SID?
Yes, everything this chapter is 40 SID.
Because I thought it's a semester. The AC.
Chapter.
Last time it's a semester, the A started AC.
Look at that one. There's one with very core collimation, by the way. But look how funky the pelvis looks with that. It stretches everything out. This is the only area we're interested in. So they're centered way too high on this x-ray, and that collimation is way too open. This is all that we want to see down here. So main star of the show, what I have in red, guys. You see a lot of evaluation criteria. This is all you need to know. Pubic and ischial bones magnified. We magnify them by adding those angulations. Pubic and ischial bones magnified. So, did this patient turn their feet in? Yes or no?
No.
They did not. It's not part of the positioning, but how can you tell they didn't turn their feet in? Lesser trochanterians are very visualized. Good.
Why does the head of the female look so fat?
So fat?
Yeah, the neck looks fat and short.
You tell me. Look at how everything else looks very elongated. Because we added an angulation. Stretches it all out. Like an evil bat? Yeah, it kind of does. It looks like a mask.
Oh, you didn't see.
All right, now the other one, guys, is the inlet view, or the Bridgman method. This is going to be basically the reverse of what we just did. Now we're focused on the inlet area, or that pelvic rim, inside that birth canal. So positioning is basically the same, guys. Flat on the table, supine, everything equidistant without rotation. Central ray is a single angulation this time. So for the outlet view, there was a difference between male and female. For the inlet view, there's only one central ray, 40 degrees caudad towards the feet. So outlet is cephalic, inlet is caudal toward the feet. And we're entering the midline right at the level of the as is. And this will achieve the result of stretching out the inlet area, or that pelvic rim. It was a nice interior view of what's going on. Now typically when they order these, they do order both of these side by side as well. They do inlet / outlet views, not one or the other. They do both.
And for this one, the angulation is 40.
40
male
cephalic
or male or
for
female?
both male and female. All right. I think this one looks cool. Look at that X-ray. I always call this the crab claws X-ray because the trochanters look like crab claws.
Oh, they do.
See it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just me? So we want to see an axial projection of that entire pelvic ring or inlet, which we see right here. There's the star of our show inside of here. You see the ischial spine's nice and clear, and that entire realm. It's going to close off this area down here, and then make those trochanters look like little crab claws. I can't talk. Crab claws.
It's been a cool looking X-ray.
Here's a neat looking X-ray.
Where's like the secret stuff?
Sacrum is right here. Coccyx you can barely see.
The inlet and all that looks like the fat boy knee.
Like the what?
The fat boy knee from. Do you know what I'm saying?
From Fallout?
Yeah, kind of, but the actual like the nuke itself, like the from way back. when.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay. Took me a second. I see what you're saying. Here's a little closer view there, guys. What do we want to see? The freely superimposed superior and inferior rami, which is something down here. We want these superimposed on themselves. And then we want symmetric pube and ischial spines. And of course, we want that realm vastly elongated. I like that wording, symmetric pubes and ischial spines. Doesn't sound right. It's supposed to be symmetric pubis. Yeah, it's supposed to be an I-instead E there.
Is that a female patient?
Is this a female patient? That is a good question. Can't really tell because we can't really get a good visualization of that outlet.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Can't really confirm that. I don't know.
So elongated more than
Well, I mean, it's going to elongate on both because we're adding that angle, so there's not really a way to determine based on the inlet because they're both going to be vastly elongated with this view. All right, review question. That is the last of the positioning of this semester, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. What is the proper position of the lower limbs for the AP projection of the pelvis? A is an apple. B is in boy. C is in cat. D is in dog. Which one is it? A? Correct. And why do we do that? What's the main reason for bringing those feet together? To hide the lesser trochanters and put what in profile? Greater trochanters. Very good. Which essential projection requires the patient to abduct the thighs 45 degrees laterally? Abduct the thighs 45 degrees laterally.
B.
Do you guys know? Stop it.
Did you see that too?
Stop it. Because I was thinking A as in axial, B as in bones, C as in calcaneus.
The cleaves, yes. I was just making sure. I mean, I heard a lot of different answers. The cleaves, because remember, what do we do with the leg? We let it go to the side. We abduct it to the side
I was gonna be
at least 45 degrees.
A as the exit.
That's it.
I didn't come up with B.
Oh no, there is.
Oh, what is going on?
I've got some more questions. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was the last slide.
I just looked up and I just seen something.
I forgot this was Lincoln Park Day.
Huh?
I forgot this was Lincoln Park Day.
Yes.
Scared
Yes.
me.
Okay. Identify the projection in the anatomy. What is that, ladies and gentlemen?
A as in axial lateral.
Axiolateral hip iliaciolar. Correct.
I know this one.
All right. What is that?
Oh yeah, I was
It
A.
can only be one thing.
Yeah.
AP pelvis.
It's not a trick question.
C is on
It's
the-
B, right? AP pelvis. Is there any obliquity going on there?
No.
No. So we know it's not A or C, it has to be B. AP pelvis. Correct. There we go. All right, what is that?
It's like one back.
That's an RPO.
It is an RPO, you're correct. So, what's the only one that has RPO?
D.
Letter D. How do you know it's RPO? Based on what I told y'all.
It's written down.
The right side would be down.
Right side's down, but how do we know the right side's down looking at
Oh,
that
the
image?
Allah.
The operator for
The marker, but also if there was no marker,
The
what else can we
Allah.
look at?
the operator.
The Allah is stretched out and the obturator foramen is closed on the right side. That tells us that the patient has rotated to the right. Make sense? All right, what is that? Badly centered X-ray, first of all, but what is that?
That's modified cleaves.
It is C. It is C. AP oblique femoral necks with modified cleaves. Throw A out of there. And obviously, it can't be B. Like if I had no idea what that was, just process of elimination. I mean, it can't be B because we're cutting off the top of the pelvis. It's obviously not oblique, so it has to be letter C. All right. Well, what are we looking at here?
That's an
Oh,
LPO.
Why is it A, Reagan?
because I know it's an acetabulum, right? And we just did RPO.
Yes. So if you hadn't seen the one before, though, what's the big difference we see here?
The operator for.
The obturator foramen is now open, and see how the Allah has superimposed on itself. That tells us that that side is elevated, so it's an LPO. LPO. There's also why you can't always go by the marker, everybody. Because seeing the R, you'd almost want to default say, hey, it's RPO. But it's not. This is the side of interest, but we're looking at the elevated side on this X-ray. That's why the right side is marked. We have to look at the anatomy and how it changes shape. Is that making sense? Using those two
Yeah.
obliques. All right. Whoops. Well, I gave that one away accidentally. That's the
B
lateral hip hickey. Why is it hickey specifically? Because the elongation of that femoral neck. All right, and what is this here?
Probably C.
That's going to be a regular lateral hip, it's the Lauenstein method, because the neck is not elongated. You'll see the difference between those two, by the way? See how it's distorted and elongated on the hickey? It's the femoral neck that becomes distorted, so. If I go to the next one, see how it's foreshortened? And this is how most of your lateral hips are gonna look, because we almost always do the Lauenstein method, not the hickey method. That's the difference between the two. And what is this? I'll do one thing, guys, come on, fall asleep. Not a trick question. It's an AP hip, right?
Yes.
I hope we see that, yeah?
Yes.
We just tired? We okay out there?
Yeah.
All right.
No, we're not, it's the
That's
holidays.
scaring me.
Wanna go home.
She ain't gonna listen to
Me
me.
too. All right, I think that's the end, guys. Yeah, we've
What
come.
about these?
Oh, yeah, you supposed to do the sheets.
We're gonna, huh?
Yeah, the sheets.
Yeah. We'll see if we have time. Oh, yeah, that's my little inspirational thing. So unfortunately, this guy right here did take his own life a few years ago. My favorite singer of all time. Says, I always wanted to be a rock star. That was my childhood dream. Used to be mine too, by the way. That's what I told everybody I was going to be when I grew up. And he achieved that. You know, what are you telling yourself you want to be when you grow up? Hopefully, not just an X-ray tech, but something more. And hopefully, we've all been thinking about that. None of us here are just going to be vanilla X-ray techs the rest of our life, right? We're aspiring for bigger and better and greater things. Yes?
Yes.
You should.
Toasted
You know,
mozzarella.
aspiring to more education, advancing yourself, being a leader one day, being, a game changer, maybe writing some articles one day, maybe being an educator. I don't know what you're going to do, but if you put in your mind that you can get there, I promise you you can. If you work hard enough for it, keep applying yourself every single day, you don't give up, because there are a lot of times I wanted to give up, especially in the X-ray program I went through. Lord have mercy. But, you know, I didn't. And my parents, they would tell me these kind of things all the time. You know, keep applying yourself, keep working hard. There's nothing you can't achieve if you work hard enough for it. I just want y'all to keep that mindset as we move forward. You know, we're wrapping up Rad Pro 2. You're about to go into your last semester as a junior before you become a senior. Where do you see yourself in a few years from now? Put that in your head. Don't lose it. Keep saying, I'm going to be that one day. And I promise you, if you work hard enough for it, you don't give up, you will achieve it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. I can tell you how many times in my life, especially even my previous job, people said, oh, you're wasting your time with all that education. That's never going to amount to anything. You're never going to be anything more than just an X-ray tech. I don't know why you're wasting your time going to school or trying to do all this stuff. It's just a waste of time. Well, you know, I love to prove people wrong. It wasn't a waste of time. So don't let people tell you that. It does pay off. Apply yourself, work hard, and you're going to achieve more than even you can see right now. So that's where I was a few years ago. I never would have saw myself even as a teacher, but here I am. Now I'm in charge of the program. I didn't even think that was going to happen. But it will happen if you keep on keeping on and don't give up. So I expect high things from you guys. I don't want y'all to just be those vanilla techs the rest of your life. I want you to achieve even more than you see right now. Just don't give up. I'm going to keep trying to inspire you along the way and help you achieve that dream. Because we all have dreams we want to achieve. We just need that support system to get there. And I hope I can be that support system for you guys as we go forward through the rest of these semesters.
So if you're asking me, I want you to know.
That's a good song.
Yeah, you popped up quick. You said that woke her up.
So, what time is it?
9:50.